How a game handles instructing the player on how to play their game can differ. Some games offer you little instruction, while others a good amount. This game is called Neverwinter. It's a fantasy MMO, and I felt it was a good example of a game that instructs you, step by step on the way during this introductory sequence on the main aspects of the game mechanics and the interface. And as you can see, these messages are popping up with instructions on what buttons to press and what they do. Just goading, coaxing you along into the next step. It introduces how to navigate the interface and elements of the interface as well. And by following the little quest tracker, the little glowing line on the ground, it just leads you to the next game mechanic or element that it wants to teach you about, along with the message that comes up on the screen. And you can access any of these tutorial bits through the game menu as well. Now all the icons on the bottom are pretty much how you fight and access different parts of your inventory and whatnot. But you see they're all grayed out, and it introduces just one attack right here, as you see, not overloading the player with a whole bunch of stuff to manage. And when it does want to teach you something new, it places an element in the world to teach you the new mechanic. As the character jumping right there, it just placed a blockade for you and made you jump over it. And as it continues, it introduces, like here, a second ability, a second main ability. And then it gives you an arena where you can practice it. I skipped ahead because it was just kind of the same thing over and over again. And as you continue to pick up quests, it's just going to introduce another attack element, I guess. And again, provide you with a small area to practice with it. So here it groups enemies a little closer together than it did in the previous areas, because it gives you, in this case, an area of effect attack. So it'll group the enemies closer so you can play with that. And as it progresses along, it's going to continue adding another element. Like here is a dodge, and it explains how much you can use that mechanic. And it's providing new gameplay elements in the attack, in those red attack shaded areas on the ground, telling you what you need to dodge. And here I used the jump button, but it didn't tell me to, but it's something I had learned previous, so I was able to use it there. And this all culminates into, in this case, and in a lot of cases, a final boss battle, which is just a more powerful enemy. And here it's highlighting my new powerful attack that builds up over time. And here you're pitted against this big guy, and to use all of the elements you learned up to this point to defeat him. And you can see here that I get knocked over, so I'm not using the dodge that I'd learned, but I picked up on that and started using it, so I was able to avoid most of the hits from there on out. And then it was just a matter of using the different attacks to down the beast. So this was a good example of instruction in video game and learning in a game, where it's integrated into the story elements, the narrative. It puts you right into the gameplay of the game itself, without really being apart from the main part of the game. Everything you experienced in the intro will carry on into the rest of the game as you learn more. So I hope that kind of illuminated the idea of learning in a video game. and it's kind of fun to put it all together, at least in my head, and see if it makes sense to anybody else.